Hey, this is going to be a short video. It's also not from a stream, so there's no chat box or anything right now. I'm sorry I was not able to get to stream today. As for the why, I restarted my workout routine, and I had stopped it because we were doing so much yard work, getting the yard under control. That took all that time. Anyway, long story short, recalibrating my days right now, so it's a little hard to get to stream, especially with food prep and all that, because diet change as well. But none of that's super important in the moment. What is important is what happened here recently, and I want to talk about it before things get a little too late on that run. So Biden dropped out. I had done a video recently on whether Biden should drop out, and I said that there are basically three paths forward for the Democrats: keep Biden, which is a gamble; run Kamala, which is a gamble; and try to find a third person to run instead, which is a huge gamble. It's looking like Kamala is gonna be our nominee instead. She's got the delegates right now in order to actually become the nominee, and she's raised $240 million in basically a 24-hour span, which not only trumps anything Trump has done, but also eclipses what Elon Musk is trying to donate to the Trump campaign. Elon Musk is, of course, sending in basically $45 million every single month to Trump. If Kamala can keep this kind of speed going, she may be able, through grassroots efforts, to be able to outspend even fucking Musk in this particular one. So there's a couple things that I see from Republicans in this regard a lot, and it's about what has Kamala Harris accomplished. A lot of people do the whole, oh, she slept her way to her position of power and all that. I don't know if any of that's true, but I do find it funny that the very first refrain people have in regards to this person is not to attack anything that has specifically happened in her career, but instead to go for the sexism. That's basically what we go for, which is insane to me, but it's also the Republican Party, so let's be honest, that's kind of where we're going to be at no matter what we do. As for what she actually has done, for those who may not be aware, she was the district attorney of San Francisco. She also became the attorney general of California, and then she became a senator and was a senator for 4 years before hopping on the ticket with Joe Biden after she tried to run against Biden. Now, she didn't win the nomination then, obviously, but Biden saw enough to grab her and bring her in. So as for what she's accomplished, there's actually a pretty decent list. I'm naming the specifics that have happened in her career, but that's not everything that she has actually done. There's, of course, more as well. In her presidency, she helped with the American Rescue Plan. She passed that plan itself, which was a $1.9 trillion economic stimulus. There's a lot of other stuff there. There's people who have been doing lists of, like, here's all the accomplishments that she's actually done as a way to counteract the crap that has been coming out from the Republican Party in regards to Kamala. As for my personal thoughts on Kamala, I know that she had a history of passing legislation that did, in fact, get more African American people jailed than should have when she was a prosecutor. So I know that there's a lot of reasons to dislike her when it comes to where we are on the left. But in terms of where people have been and how they've moved, let's take a look at Biden. This is a guy who used to openly say some pretty heinous shit in his time in Congress. Like 40 years ago, you can find videos of him saying stuff that just would not fucking fly today. So, in terms of harmful things that politicians have done, I think it's safe to say damn near all of them have done enough harm that no matter who we grab, there's going to be some kind of baggage. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, will the person that we grab help shift the Overton window further away from the right? That's my main concern. And that's my main concern because the Overton window shifting away from the right means that less extreme politicians get reelected into their offices, especially the ones that have their incumbency right now. And when you do that, when you shift that Overton window further to the left, you make it easier for trans people to afford HRT right now. If you look at the campaign the Republican Party is doing against Kamala at the moment, there's a few narratives that are going around. One, Biden coup, like a coup happened in the White House and Kamala is at the front. There was also the video that AOC did, basically saying that, hey, there's actually a bunch of factions in the Democratic Party that are very fragmented right now on who should be at the front. Apparently, there's a lot of people, especially in the squad, who aren't super big on Kamala and are more big on Biden. That is a red flag to me. But one of the biggest concerns for us on the left has been that Biden is incredibly old. This is a man who does not do well on the debate stage, and Trump is an actor. He's been an actor his entire life. He does very well on the debate stage. He makes all of the memeable moments. He has the idea in his head of pleasing the crowd first. He does it through fueling his own narcissism. I wanted to do something on his speech at the RNC, but of course I've been busy, so I haven't had a chance to. So because of that, there's been another narrative that happened from the right, and that is that so much money had been spent on a campaign against Biden, and now all of that information is useless. This has created another sub-narrative that is fascinating, where Biden stepping down is what the opposition says that they want in all of their media packages, but then Biden does step down and not take the nomination, and suddenly the goalpost shifts, especially from Trump. Oh no, we've spent all this money here. Maybe we can sue for damages. Maybe we can do that. If you look at his Truth Social, it's insane, the stuff this man has come up with. So where does that leave us right now? It leaves us with a woman who has a lot of baggage that the right can use, and a lot of baggage that the left can use to not like her. However, I have never seen everyone on the left side of politics. This means liberals. There's some commies who are a little stupid about this, anarchos who are a little dumb about this, but I'm seeing a lot of liberals and socialists, specifically on Twitter, who are very, very behind Kamala right now. They're doing the coconut memes and all that stuff, and I think we need to keep that energy. Once we are able to secure the White House away from the fascist, I think that it's perfectly reasonable to hold Kamala to task. Just like when most of us collectively held Biden to task when shit like the railway union stuff went sideways. And he did end up course correcting on that. But the point is, the time to hold Kamala to task for stuff like that is after we've managed to secure that White House spot. Use every single bit of fuel the right is using to make it, to basically show that there's not a whole lot they have on her. What, they've used the coup narrative, they've used the laughing Kamala meme, and then there's a few, again, the people who are further left than me or somewhere on the quadrant area, I'm not sure, who've done the whole, hey, the coconut meme is racist, blah, 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 blah. Ignore those people. Hell, make fun of those people if you feel the need to. Right now, the goal is keep the fascist out of the White House. The fascist who has a vice president pick, who is a spineless coward, who doesn't play the political game as well as he plays the brown-nosing game. That's who J.D. Vance seems to be to me from everything that I've done in terms of researching him and his political career. Him and Ted Cruz and several are the types of people that just turncoat and fold, and the minute that things move away from what they prefer, they stand on principles in front of a camera up until the point where they can't anymore. Marjorie does the same thing. Remember, she was all in on America First, and then she didn't know who Nick Fuentes was, and then she went and spoke at his convention, and then said she didn't know who he was. I mean, there's all kinds of hot garbage, brown-nosy, tail-turn-coaty stuff within the Republican Party, and there's certainly some of that in the Dem Party as well. We've got Manchin, after all. But there's only a few questions that are left here for us. In terms of how we organize, we need to start focusing any advocacy we do on Kamala. Within the scope of Trump, we focus on the idea of her prosecuting a felon. Trump is a felon and a rapist. These are like 34 counts of felony acts. A judge in New York literally says that he is a rapist, and it is only a technicality that prevented it from being considered rape. It was with his fingers instead of with his, junk. If you are a parent and somebody did that to your daughter, you would call it rape and you would go grab a shotgun. So I don't want to hear that it's not rape when Trump does it. So while the Kamala's a cop thing can work against her for a lot of lefties, I think leaning into that against Trump is a very good narrative decision that we should focus on. On top of that leaning in that we should be doing, we should also be leaning in on the accomplishments that she has done. There's plenty of people. You can literally go on Twitter and type Kamala Harris accomplishments. You can go onto her Wikipedia page and you can find stuff that she's done. You can find a history of her visiting Planned Parenthoods and trying to fight for abortion. You can find the history of her going, to Poland to support NATO allies, showing that she's willing to back our military and be a good commander-in-chief. You're willing to look at, her passing the John Lewis Act, which was a voting rights advancements act in the House, which here in Georgia, with all the shit that Brian Kemp has done, is certainly something that speaks to me. Find the thing that she's done, because she actually has a pretty storied political career. Find the thing that she's done that speaks to you and make that the thing that you focus on when you are trying to get people to go out and vote. The worst thing that can happen right now, the absolute worst thing that can happen right now, is a left that is not at the very least united under the banner of going out and voting. Obviously, everybody should be going out and voting. We know that progressives tend to get elected more often the more people go out and vote. But I'm going to advocate for the side of people that I am a part of. And that side is one that seems to have more, I hate using this term, but common sense policies when it comes to trans people and gay people and, let's be honest, taxes. So, all that considered, I think we spend a lot of time focusing on Kamala's strengths. We spend a lot of time focusing on what she has accomplished. We spend a lot of time on the funny haha narrative of the cop versus the felon. We do everything in our power to make those the memes that we use, the conversations that we have, all of that. And once she has the White House, once that is secured, and we know that we don't have to, we've staved off the fascists for 4 more years. We've staved off the starting bids of Project 2025, and the Heritage Foundation gets to rewrite it for the next wannabe czar. In that time, we hold her accountable if she does do any of the stupid hard-on crime stuff or continuing the drug war stuff or any of the very ineffective policies that, while they do appeal to the right, are not functionally effective. Because even if she does those things that appeal to the right, they're going to focus on the sexism. They're going to focus on calling her the Haktua girl of politics. They're going to focus on her not having children. That's a big one as well. So counteract all of those things. Counteract those every step of the way. Somebody goes, she doesn't have kids, so she doesn't have a stake in America. Okay, but she has a husband, and she has a family, and she has friends. She lives here. She has a stake in this country as much as anybody else. More of a stake in this country than Trump. He's on his way out the door in terms of how long he's alive. That's the other thing. Point out the hypocrisy of a party that points at Joe Biden and goes, here's the doddering old fool. Meanwhile, we want to hold our doddering old fool as our nominee. Like, there's all kinds of hypocrisy plays that you can hit. One last thing before I end this particular video. I do want anybody watching this who does engage in politics, advocacy of any kind, to not just go at Trump and J.D. Vance because they are Trump and J.D. Vance. Take some time to look at the rhetoric that they've both engaged in. Take some time to look at their histories so that if you do feel the need to advocate against them, you can actually honestly answer the questions, hey, what do you not like about Trump? What do you not like about J.D. Vance? And If you do feel the need to talk about Project 2025, remember, I do have a video series where I've been going over it. We're a ninth of the way through. There's plenty more to go. So that'll give you a good idea so that you can kind of rehash, oh, here are the things that the Heritage Foundation wants. The Heritage Foundation has people that Trump wants to put in office. Make sure that you know enough about this stuff so that you can engage in effective advocacy. Every one of us has one of these. Put notes on your phone. When I went out and canvassed for Jamal Bowman, I didn't feel like I knew what I was going to say whenever I went to a door, so I started writing notes down so that I had something, somewhat of a guide, because I can't follow a guide that somebody else makes. When you go canvassing, they give you stuff. So write some stuff down, make sure that you've got your ducks in a row, and then see if you can find an org that'll help you phone bank. See if you can find an org that'll help you canvass. See if you can talk to any of your friends who might not want to go out and vote and get them to go out and vote with you. Get people in the habit of democracy. But that's all that I've got for this one. I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it to a stream, but I do have another thing I want to talk about, and that'll be in the video later today. Or this will be the video that comes out in the morning. I don't know. We'll see. But as always, y'all, insert end of video tagline here.